Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. The WBA rankings are out, published as of 31 October, and I have stayed away from them for a while, but I had to dip in and cover this one because there is just quite a lot of hilarity with some of this, and we'll cover it. And some strange omissions, guys who were ranked highly now gone, and some other top fighters could also be gone soon because of orders in other sanctioning bodies. And that would leave even more dross within the WBA 15. So what we have, and you can see here on screen, Martin Bakole. So he is number one, and legitimately so. And the irony is that because of the order for him to face Agit Kabayel in a purse bid to happen on 5 November, and that is for Daniel Dubois' IBF title, you could actually see Martin Bakole and also Agit Kabayel out of these rankings in a month's time, which would, leave even more room for some questionable inclusions. So we'll have to watch the space on that one. But the top couple, obviously, Tyson Fury facing Alexander Usyk for 3 titles in December 2024. No issues with that. Martin Bakole deserves to be atop this top 15. He's been working that route for quite a number of years now. And the irony could be he could get a shot elsewhere. But this is the thing. You enter the WBA, you enter their vortex. You could get tied up and really not go anywhere and things not really happen. I mean, Michael Hunter is a bit of an example. He went the WBA route and he was messed around by them a little bit, and more recently he had been reinserted back into the rankings. Then he got the gold title against Cassius Chaney, and now he is waiting for an opportunity for something to happen. But it's the WBA. Something could not happen. That could be a very real possibility. So at number 4, you've got Lenier Pero, the Cuban. And actually, he is a talented fighter, but I have to say, based on what he's been doing, so he's 11-0 at this stage, 8 knockouts. He's got a lot of talent, number 38 in the world according to BoxRec. But what he's been doing the last year, well, he's only had 1 fight against a knockover job in Donny Palmer. You may recall Joe Joyce fought him, a number of years ago, and it was a walkover. And so too for Pero. He got the win in the first round, and that was back in March. So Pero, apart from that, has been inactive. So how he can, hold on to number 4 in the ratings is beyond me. Agit Kabayel, that's a deserved spot. He's had a couple of big wins in the past year on Riyadh season, against Aslan Bekmambetov and Frank Sanchez, a deserved top 5 guy in a sanctioning body. You can make a case, him and Martin Bakole, the 2 guys in this rankings that arguably deserve their position based on what they've been doing recently. Also, too, I guess, Fabio Wardley. So he was previously in the rankings, but he was a little bit lower. Since then, he's had that fight with Fraser Clark. Yeah, that's fine. Fabio Wardley raises to number 6 here. Going back to the previous rankings, he was down at number 9. But you might note, Zhang Jilei, Derek Chisora, out of the rankings this month. And that's kind of curious. Derek Chisora coming off a decent win over Joe Joyce not so long ago. Maybe he didn't pay his sanctioning fees. I don't know. That was just a few months ago. And obviously Zhang Jilei coming off a big win against Deontay Wilder mid-year. So what's happened? Why are they gone? But what we do have further down, and we'll come to that, is the inclusion of Moses Itoma and also Murat Gassiev. But first, Kubrat Pulev at number 7. He's facing Mahmoud Char. That's at the end of the year. And Char has been a bit of a joke in the division for the past, 7 or so years since he picked that title up. Never should have been on the line, that secondary title, and has done basically nothing since with it. And you had that situation with Don King, Trevor Bryan, court action, which has seen, Mahmoud Char, and the double star here, that denotes, we'll go down to where it is, the caveats. Conditional was reinstated as champion in recess on August 26th and elevated after. Yeah, so Cha had to instigate court action for that, but he's been basically up to nothing. One of the strangest inclusions in this top 15 is Mike Perez. And actually, he's actually fallen from a month ago when he was number 5. And why would he be number 5 based off what he's been doing? The former mostly cruiserweight has had, just a couple of journeyman level fight this year. Yeah, it makes no sense to me. Against a guy with a record of 12-5, stopped him in a round, and then a guy against a guy with a padded record, 36-3, stopped him in a round. How he is in the top 15 based on that is a question, and obviously it's the WBA, so anything can and does happen. But then we come into Murat Gassiev. We just saw him take a win over Kem Lundqvist a week ago, and that was coming off a year of inactivity. So he'd lost to Otto Wallin a year ago. So he's straight in number 9. Moses Utoma, who's in a couple of other sanctioning body rankings, the WBO most notably, he comes in at number 10. So he is going to be facing Dempsey McKean, and this is at the end of the year. That's a decent litmus test for the young and rising prospect. But you'd have to say, based on what he's been doing so far, does that really, 19 years old, 10-0, 8 knockouts, coming off a battering of Marius Vuk, you could ask the question, does that deserve a ranking in the WBA? But if Mike Perez is there and facing the opposition, he is, well, I guess so too Moses Utoma deserves to be there. Quite surprisingly, Cassius Chaney is still ranked in the sanctioning body. He took a pasting against Michael Hunter mid-year, and I don't really think, based on that, you could really deserve to keep him in the rankings, but he's there. He is at number 11 still. He does have a scheduled fight and against Honoré Ephraimi, who has proven to be a guy that can be stopped. But I guess the question always is, with Cassius Chaney in more recent fights, is he going to let his hands go? Is he going to throw any punches? He basically did nothing against Michael Hunter. And if you've seen some of the interviews that he did after that, he was on a podcast basically saying he learned a lot and Hunter was doing things, but I don't know what happened, but he didn't let his hands go. It was one of the strangest performances you will ever see. So, yeah, I'm surprised that he's still ranked, but it's the WBA and it's Vortex. Who knows what's happening, brown envelopes, etc. And remember that Chaney, I'm pretty sure, is working with Don King. So King and his WBA contacts. Yeah. Luis Ortiz, 45 years old, knocked over a journeyman in Cartagena at the start of 2024 in a round, and he's still in the rankings. So 41-18 journeyman Francisco Cordero was stopped in that first round against Ortiz. Yeah, it makes you wonder what's going on with Ortiz, what's going on with these rankings. Miller, his recent draw against Andy Ruiz Jr., yeah, that's fair. I mean, you could actually say some of Miller's work in the last year or two. Arguably, he should be a little bit higher up than some of these other guys. Ivan Ditchko has been pretty solidly in the WBA rankings for a few years now. He was on those Say No to Drug events that were in South America a couple of years in a row, and this seems to be his only route to any relevancy in terms of sanctioning bodies, given his inactivity. He's been going nowhere fast. They've been talking about, his management actually came to a video, the post-fight review for his most recent fight, the video that I done, and said that they're looking to try have a couple of good step ups for him. But the thing is, it's Daichko's career has been all talk so far, and perhaps the most curious inclusion in the rankings, and this is actually, he's been there for a couple of months in a row now, just recently entered a month or so ago, DeAndre Savage. He was once managed by Christopher Lovejoy. I don't think that's the case anymore. He is number 15 in the rankings. And based on the body of work, record of 6-0, number 159 in the world, number 35 in the USA, how would he get into the WBA rankings based on what he's been doing? He has had 3 fights in 2024, one of them, though, being a no contest. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe he's got a close relationship with the WBA in some form or fashion. It's hard to make hide nor hair of it. And when you consider you've had, from a month ago, Zhang Jilei and Derek Chisora drop out, that leaves it looking a little bit less in terms of the depth. And one of or both, once it goes to Perspid for the IBF title for Daniel Dubois, probably Caballero and Bacoli are going to be dropped from here as well. So who knows what shenanigans and what this is going to look like in a month's time. But this is not a representative top 10 or top 15, far from it. As we know, some of these guys, based on what they've been doing, not even in the top 30. So as we saw, DeAndre Savage rated 159 on BoxRec. What do you make of the rankings? What do you make of the WBA and what they're doing with these rankings? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter. Boxing_squared. I'm out.